All right, here we go. This is the last video in this module and last one for the hand and portable powered tools. This is 1910.243 and it's entitled Guarding of Portable Power Tools. So, and we know what guarding is, do we not? It is an engineering control, right? All right, portable circular saws. All portable power-driven circular saws having a blade diameter greater than 2 inches shall be equipped with guards above and below the base plate or shoe. The upper guard shall cover the saw to the depth of the teeth, except for the minimum arc required to permit the base to be tilted for bevel cuts. Bevel cuts or slanting cuts, right? The lower guard shall cover the saw to the depth of the teeth, except for the minimum arc required to allow proper retraction and contact with the work. When the tool is withdrawn from the work, the lower guard shall automatically and instantly return to covering position. Paragraph A1 of the section does not apply to circular saws used in the meat industry for meat cutting purposes. I like it when OSHA exempts something specific like that, just because it makes a lot of sense too. I mean, and for a particular industry. So, and also, say used in the meat industry for meat cutting purposes. So you buy that saw and use it for something else, then the rules apply. Switches and controls. All handheld powered circular saws having a blade diameter greater than 2 inches, electric, hydraulic, or pneumatic chainsaws, and percussion tools without positive accessory holding means shall be equipped with a constant pressure switch or control that will shut off power when the pressure is released. All handheld gasoline-powered chainsaws shall be equipped with a constant pressure throttle control that will shut off the power of the chainsaw when the pressure is released. Now, these are commonly called dead man switches, but basically you let go of it, it cuts off the power. Good idea on most power tools. All handheld power drills, tappers, faster drivers, horizontal, vertical, and angle grinders, and wheels greater than 2 inches in diameter, disc sanders with discs greater than 2 inches in diameter, belt sanders, reciprocating saws, sabers, screw, and jig saws with blade shanks greater than a nominal 1/4 inch, and other similarly operated power tools shall be equipped with a constant pressure switch or control and may have a lock-on control, provided that turn-off can be accomplished by a single motion of the same finger or fingers that turn it on. And frequently, you hit the switch again sometimes, and that turns it off too. I have a jigsaw that I probably got when I was first married, and that was 55 years ago. And it has 2-prong plug, and I don't think it's double insulated, but it's an old one, and I've used it ever since. All other handheld powered tools, such as but not limited to plate and sanders, grinders with wheels 2 inches in diameter or less, disc sanders with discs 2 inches in diameter or less, routers, planers. Routers, have smaller bits on them. Laminate trimmers, nibblers, don't want that is shears, sabers, screw, and jigsaws with blade shanks a nominal 1/4 of an inch wide or less may be equipped with either a positive on-off control or other controls as described by paragraphs A2I and II, the section we've already talked about. Saber, screw, and jigsaws with non-standard blade holders may use blades with shanks which are non-uniform in width, provided the narrowest portion of the blade shank is an integral part in mounting the blade. Blade shank width shall be measured at the narrowest portion of the blade shank when saber, screw, and jigsaws have non-standard blade holders. Nominal in this subparagraph means plus or minus 0.05 inches or 0.05 of an inch. The operating control on handheld power tools should be so located as to minimize the possibility of its accidental operation, if such accidental operation would constitute a hazard to employees. And I think the accidental operation of a power tool could always constitute a hazard to employees. This subparagraph does not apply to concrete vibrators, concrete breakers, powered tampers, jackhammers, rock drills, garden appliances, household and kitchen appliances, personal care appliances, medical dental equipment, or to fix machinery. And that they had to do that. I mean, you can't have some of these things. Household and kitchen appliances have dead man switches on them. So imagine if you had to stand there all the time and hold your toaster or even your blender. So that makes a lot of sense. Portable belt sanding machines. Belt sanding machines shall be provided with guards at each nip point where the sanding belt runs into a pulley. That's pretty common. These guards shall effectively prevent the hands or fingers of the operator from coming in contact with the nip points. The unused run of the sanding belt shall be guarded against accidental contact. So the sanding belt that's not being used should be guarded too. Cracked saws. All cracked saws shall be removed in service. But you can't remove cracked people. Grounding. Portable electric power tools shall meet the electrical requirements of subpart S of this part. We all know that subpart S refers to what? Electrical. Pneumatic powered tools and hose. A tool retainer. A tool retainer shall be installed on each piece of equipment, utilization equipment, which without such retainer may eject the tool. Air hose. Hose and hose connections used for conducting compressed air to utilization equipment shall be designed for the pressure and service to which they are subjected. It's kind of a shame, though, she has to put that in a standard. You're going to use an air hose. It has to be made for the air pressure it's going to have. I mean, but you know what? They have to do that. I mean, I get that. Portable abrasive wheels, general requirements. Abrasive wheels shall be used only on machine provided with safety guards as defined in paragraph C1 through C4. The section, which right here, this is C1. Exceptions. The requirements of this paragraph shall not apply to the following classes of wheels and conditions. Wheels used for internal work while within the work being ground. Mount a wheel used in portable operations 2 inches and smaller in diameter. And then we're not going to go to the other types and stuff like that. A safety guard shall cover the spindle end, nut, and flange projections. Safety guard shall be mounted so as to maintain proper alignment with the wheel, and the strength of the fastening shall exceed the strength of the guard. Exception, there we go. Safety guards on all operations where the work practice provides a suitable measure of protection to the operator may be so constructed that the spindle end, nut, and outer flange are exposed. Where the nature of the work is such as to entirely cover the side of the wheel, the side covers of the guard may be omitted. Exception, I don't know if that's exception of the exception. No, it's exception. The spindle end, nut, and outer flange may be exposed on portable machines designed for those type of wheels, okay? Cup wheels, type 6 and 11. The safety guards are specified in paragraph C1 of the section, or revolving cup guards, and which mount behind the wheel and turn with it. They shall be made of steel or other material with adequate strength and shall enclose the wheel sides upwards from the back for 1/3 of the wheel thickness. The mounting features shall conform with all regulations. It is necessary to maintain clearance between the wheel side and the guard. The clearance shall not exceed 1/16 inch or some other form of guard that will ensure good protection. Vertical portable grinders. Safety guards used on machines known as right angle head or vertical portable grinders shall have a maximum exposure angle of 180 degrees, and the guard shall be located so as to be between the operator and the wheel during use. Adjustment of guard shall be such that pieces of an accidentally broken wheel will be deflected away from the operator. See P4. There's P4. There's mounting bolts. That's very vertical sander. Other portable grinders. The maximum angular exposure of the grinding wheel periphery and sides for safety guards used on other portable grinding machines shall not exceed 180 degrees exposure, and the top half of the wheel should be enclosed at all times. So that means there's your exposure there and the exposure there, 180 degrees, which is what, half of the circle. Mounting and inspection of abrasive wheels. Immediately before mounting, all wheels shall be closely inspected and sounded by the user. Ring tests, see subpart O, to make sure that they have not been damaged in transit, storage, or otherwise. The spindle speed of the machine shall be checked before mounting of the wheel to be certain that it does not exceed the maximum operating speed marked on the wheel. What they're saying here, if you get abrasive wheels, they have a maximum speed that they're rated for on them. And the ring test is you hold them up by the usually by the hole in them, and you hit them with something at the end of a screwdriver and see if they ring. Because if they thud, that means they're cracked. And if they're cracked and you put them on, they're gonna blow up, basically. They come to pieces and fly out at you. So that's the ring test. Grinding wheels shall fit freely on the spindle or remain free under all grinding conditions. A controlled clearance between the wheel hole and the machine spindle or wheel sleeves or adapters is essential to avoid excessive pressure from mounting and spindle expansion. To accomplish this, the machine spindle shall be made to nominal standard size +0 minus 0.02 inch. The wheel hole should be made suitably oversized to assure safety clearance under the conditions of operating heat and pressure. All contact surfaces of wheels, blotters, and flangers shall be flat and free of foreign material. When a bushing is used in a wheel hole, it should not exceed the width of the wheel and shall not contact the flanges. Requirements to use the flanges and blotters, see subpart O, G10 215. Excluded machinery, natural sandstone wheels, and metal, wooden, cloth, or paper discs having a layer of abrasive on the surface are not covered by this paragraph. Explosive actuated fastening tools, general requirements. Explosive actuated fastening tools that are actuated by explosives or any similar means and propel a stud, pin, fastener, or other object for the purpose of affixing it by penetration to any other object shall meet the design requirements specified in paragraph D2 of this section. This requirement does not apply to devices designed for attaching objects to soft construction materials such as wood, plaster, tar, dry wallboard, and the like, or to stud welding equipment. So it doesn't apply if you're attaching something to wood. Okay. Operators and assistants using tools shall be safeguarded by means of eye protection. Head and face protection shall be used as required by working conditions as set forth in subpart I. That's not subpart L, that's an I. Well, they're all capitals. So this is interesting because they throw in assistants, operators and assistants, because frequently when somebody's doing the job, there's a person helping, holding it, whatever. And they should be protected by PPE also. I've seen this too many times, especially in welding. Somebody's helping the welder and they don't have the proper protection on, and they always say, "Oh, I won't look at it." Come on, that doesn't work. You got to have the same protection as the welder if you're there helping him out. Inspection, maintenance, and tool handling. High velocity tools. Tools of this type shall have the characteristics outlined in A through H of this section. High velocity tools. The muzzle end of the tool shall have a protective shield or guard at least 3.5 inches in diameter, mounted perpendicular to and concentric with the barrel, and designed to confine any flying fragments or particles that might otherwise create a hazard at the time of firing. Where a standard shield or guard cannot be used, or where it does not cover all apparent avenues through which flying particles might escape, a special shield, guard, fixture, or jig designed and built by the manufacturer of the tool being used, which provides this degree of protection, shall be used as a substitute. Notice here, they don't say by the manufacturer's instructions, they just say built by the manufacturer. The tool shall be so designed that it cannot be fired unless it is equipped with a standard protective shield or guard, or a special shield, guard, fixture, or jig. The firing mechanism shall be so designed that the tool cannot fire during loading or preparation to fire, or if the tool should be dropped while loaded. Firing of the tool shall be dependent upon at least 2 separate and distinct operations of the operator, with the final firing movement being separate from the operation of bringing the tool into the firing position. The tool shall be so designed as not to be operable other than against a work surface, and unless the operator is holding the tool against the work surface with a force of at least 5 pounds greater than the total weight of the tool. The tool shall be so designed that it will not operate when equipped with a standard guard indexed to the center position if any bearing surface of the guard is tilted more than 8 degrees from contact with the work surface. The tool shall be so designed that positive means of varying the power are available, or can be made available to the operator as part of the tool, or as an auxiliary, in order to make it possible to the operator to select a power level adequate to perform the desired work without excessive force. In other words, they want to use the least amount of force necessary to do the work. The tool shall be so designed that all breaching parts will be reasonably visible to allow a check for any foreign matter that may be present. Tools of the low velocity piston type shall have the characteristics outlined in paragraphs D2II, A through E of this section, and any additional safety features he may wish to incorporate. Now, this thing's kind of stuck out to me. This is a 1910-243 small d to double I small a. Usually in OSHA, or usually everywhere else I've ever seen it, that last small a will be a capital A. Now, I don't know why they use this particular way of doing this, a small d, and then a 2, then a number, and then Roman numerals, and then a capital A is usually, BC is usually for that 4th one down. But in this standard, they're using a small a, which is kind of confusing because that small a is also used in the first letter. Anyhow, The muzzle end of the tool shall be designed so that suitable protective shields, guards, jigs, or fixtures designed and built by the manufacturer of the tool being used can be mounted perpendicular to the tool. A standard spall shield shall be supplied with each tool. Tool shall be designed so that it shall not in ordinary usage propel or discharge a stud, pin, or fastener while loading or during preparation to fire, or if the tool should be dropped while loaded, and firing for the tool shall be dependent upon two separate and distinct operations, with the final firing movement being separate from the operation of bringing the tool into the firing position. It's kind of the same as before. And this is, again, the same thing. It should be designed so it can't be operable other than against the work surface, and the operator's holding it with pressure at least 5 pounds greater than the weight of the tool, so you can't set the tool down on top of it. The tool, and that would, whatever sensors there for the wet pressure would register. The tool shall be designed so that positive means of varying the power. There's another way of varying the power, same as in the other one. You can vary the power with it. And same, breaching parts will be reasonably visible to allow a check for any foreign material. Tools of the hammer-operated piston tool low velocity type shall have the characteristics that I define in D2. And we're not going to go into every little detail on all these hammer tools. The muzzle end of the tool shall be designed so that suitable protective guards, jigs, or fixtures designed and built by the manufacturer can be used, can be mounted perpendicular to the barrel, and it can't discharge while being loading in preparation to fire, or if the tool should be dropped. And this is the same thing, two separate distinct operations to fire it, and available to select the power, available power, different variable power. And same as all of them here. That's the same as we had. Loads and fasteners. There should be a standard means of identifying the power levels of loads used in tools. And D3II is reserved. Why they do that? I don't know. Why don't they just skip it? They can always, it's OSHA. They put it back in if they want to. I mean, I don't know. Anyhow, no load, cased or caseless, shall be used if it will accurately chamber in any existing approved commercially available low velocity piston tool or hammer operated piston tool low velocity type. Good grief. And will cause a fastener to have a mean velocity of 300 feet per second. So no individual test firing of a series shall exceed 300 feet per second by more than 8%. So fasteners used in tools shall be only those specifically manufactured for use in such tools. Before using a tool, the operator shall inspect it to determine to his satisfaction that it is clean, that all moving parts operate freely, and that the barrel is free from obstructions. Now that's kind of unusual. They put the operator shall inspect it to determine to his satisfaction. I don't know. That's kind of subjective, isn't it? Now, why don't they just leave that out? They just determine that it is clean. I mean, that's odd to have that in there. You don't usually see that to his satisfaction. When a tool develops a defect during use, the operator shall immediately cease to use it until it is properly repaired. All right, tools to be loaded until just prior to use. Don't point at tools, just like a gun. Don't point at anybody else. No tool shall be loaded unless being prepared for immediate use, nor shall an unattended tool be left loaded. Now, that may be important. You don't have to load one of these things and leave it sitting around where somebody can pick it up. Don't know what they're doing. This is an interesting. In case of a misfire, the operator shall hold the tool in the operating position for at least 30 seconds. He shall then try to operate the tool a second time. He shall wait another 30 seconds, holding the tool in the operating position. Then he shall proceed to remove the explosive load in strict accordance with the manufacturer's instructions. Then try to operate slow a second time. Okay. And that's interesting. That's pretty much with a gun. If your gun misfires right away, you don't immediately react. You wait a while and make sure that there's just not a delayed reaction. Tools shall never be left unattended in a place where it will be available to unauthorized persons. Fasteners should not be driven in the very hard or brittle materials, including but not limited to cast iron, glazed tile, surface hardened steel, glass block, live rock, face brick, or hollow tile. Interesting. Driving into materials easily penetrated shall be avoided unless such materials are backed by a substance that will prevent the pin or fastener from passing completely through and creating a flying missile hazard on the other side. This is a odd situation in our Mason Lodge in California. There was a preparation room, they called it, when so the candidate was in there, and it was an old building and had wooden doors that we would never use. We didn't even realize they were doors back onto an alley. Well, this guy got himself a new nail gun in the back alley. He saw these little wooden doors, so I'm going to try this nail gun. So he shoots this wooden nail gun into this wooden door. Well, it went through the wooden door, hit the guy in the back. Now, it had gone through a wooden door and it hit the guy, so it didn't really do too much damage. But it was just, after we found out everything was okay, the worst part of it is one of our guys was a bailiff. He had a 45, and he runs back in the alley, and he's a big guy. He scared that living crap out of this guy. This big guy with a 45 running after him. And we realized what had happened. Then when everything calmed down, it was kind of funny a little bit, because the guy got shot while getting prepared to be a main mason. Fasteners shall not be driven directly into material such as brick or concrete closer than 3 inches from the unsupported edge or corner. Okay, that's so it wouldn't break off. Or into steel surfaces close to 1/2 inch from the unsupported edge or corner, unless a special guard fixture or jig is used. Exception: low velocity tools may drive no closer to 2 inches from an edge in concrete or 1/4 inch steel. When fastening other materials, such as a 2x4 inch wood section to a concrete surface, it is permissible to drive a fastener no greater than 7/32 inch shank diameter, not closer than 2 inches from the unsupported edge or corner of the work surface. Fasteners should not be driven through existing holes unless a positive guide is used to secure accurate alignment. No fastener shall be driven into a spalled area caused by an unsatisfactory fastening. Tools shall not be used in an explosive or flammable atmosphere. All tools shall be used with the correct shield, guard, or attachment recommended by the manufacturer. Any tool found not in proper working order shall be immediately removed from service. The tool shall be inspected at regular intervals and shall be repaired in accordance with the manufacturer's specifications. Power lawnmowers, general requirements. Power lawnmowers of the walk-behind, riding, rotary, and real power lawnmowers shall be guarded in accordance with the machine guarding requirements in 29 CFR 1910.212, general requirements for all machines. All power-driven chains, belts, and gears shall be positioned or otherwise guarded to prevent the operator's accidentally contact therewith, normally during normal starting, mounting, and operation of the machine. While these regulations don't apply to you, those regulations don't apply to you while you're doing stuff in your house. You buy whatever you buy, whatever you use. But you'll notice that all these power lawnmowers adhere to these because they want to sell them to businesses too, and they're going to sell them for a business. And then if an employee's going to be using it, then it does have to meet OSHA regulations. So to sell them at Home Depot to the public, they don't necessarily have to meet OSHA regulations. Now, and I'm sure there's some regulations covering it there. But like I said, if they want somebody that has a business to go buy one of those to use on their business, which a lot of people do, a lot of businesses have grass and property and exterior that need to be maintained. They want to make sure that they are in accordance with OSHA regulations. So remember, OSHA regulations only covers employees. So when they're doing their job. So basically, if you work, let's say you work you're an employee at Home Depot and you're on off that you're not working on one day and you go to Home Depot and you get hurt there, you slip and fall. You're not an employee. So you're not covered by OSHA. You're not covered by workers' comp. I mean, these laws are pretty strict about that. So in other words, like also, if you have a business, and a customer walks out and gets hit by a car and killed in front of your business, you have to report that to OSHA. No, because it's not your employee. Not that if customer's an employee of another business, then they have to, but it's not your employee. So all power-driven chains, belts, and gears, okay, otherwise guarded. There we go. I said that. Oh, yeah. A shut-off device shall be provided to stop operation of the motor or engine. Oh, that's really good to have. This device shall require manual and intentional reactivation to restart the motor or engine. Okay. All positions of the operating control shall be clearly identified. Now, you notice when you have to engage the rotors of your lawnmower, you have to push something down, and then you have to pull back up again to reach and push it back down again to restart it. So maybe if you shut the machine off. The words caution, be sure the operating control is in neutral before starting the engine, or similar wording shall be clearly visible at an engine starting control point on self-propelled mowers. And most, it's only just self-propelled mowers. Walk behind and riding rotary mowers. The mower blade shall be enclosed except on the bottom. Thank you, Rocia. And the enclosure shall be extended to or below the lowest cutting point of the blade in the lowest blade position. That makes sense. Guards which must be removed to install a catcher assembly, which they're known by grass catchers, shall comply with the following. Warning instructions shall be affixed to the mower near the opening, stating that the mower shall not be used without either the catcher assembly or the guard in place. The catcher assembly or the guard shall be shipped and sold as part of the mower. The instruction manual shall state that the mower shall not be used without either the catcher assembly or the guard in place. The catcher assembly, when properly and completely installed, shall not create a condition which violates the limits given for the guarded opening. Openings in the blade enclosure intended for the discharge of grass shall be limited to a maximum vertical angle of the opening of 30 degrees. Measurements shall be taken from the lowest blade position. The total effective opening area of the grass discharge opening shall not exceed 1,000 square degrees on units having a width of cut less than 27.5 inches, or 2,000 square degrees on units having a width of cut 27.5 inches or over. So I looked up, what's a square degree? A square degree, denoted DEG squared, is a non-SI unit measure of solid angle. SI is international standard. So that just as degrees are used to measure parts of a circle, square degrees are used to measure parts of a sphere. That's what square degrees are. The word caution or stronger wording shall be placed on the mower at or near each discharge opening. There's another one that's reserved. Blade shall stop rotating for the manufacturer's specified maximum speed within 15 seconds after declutching or shutting off power. And I think they all stop way faster than that. In a multi-piece blade, the means of fastening the cutting members to the body of the blade or disc shall be so designed they will not become worn to a hazardous condition before the cutting members themselves are worn beyond use. The maximum tip speed of any blade shall be 19,000 feet per minute. I'm not going to go measure mine. Walk behind rotary mowers. The horizontal angle of the openings in the blade enclosure intended for the discharge of grass shall not contact the operator area. There should be one of the following at all openings in the great blade enclosure intended for the discharge of grass. A minimum unobstructed horizontal distance of 3 inches from the end of the discharge chute to the blade tip circle. A rigid bar fastened across the discharge opening, secured to prevent removal without the use of tools. The bottom of the bar shall be no higher than the bottom edge of the blade enclosure. The highest points of the front of the blade enclosure, except discharge openings, shall be such that any line extending a maximum of 15 degrees downward from the horizontal toward the blade shaft, and I'm not going to go into these details on this. So the mower handle shall be fastened to the mower so as to prevent loss of control by unintentional uncoupling while in operation. A positive upstop or latch shall be provided for the mower handle in the normal operating position. The upstop shall not be subject to unintentional disengagement during normal operation of the mower. The upstop or latch shall not allow the center or the handle grips to come close to 17 inches horizontally behind the closest path of the mower blades, unless manually engaged. A swing mower handle which complies with the above requirements will be permitted. Wheel drive disengaging controls, except dead man controls, shall move opposite to the direction of the vehicle motion in order to disengage the drive. Dead man controls shall automatically interrupt power to a drive when the operator's actuating force is removed and may operate in any direction to disengage the drive. Riding rotary mowers. The highest points of all openings in the blade enclosure front shall be limited by a vertical angle of opening 15 degrees and a maximum distance of 1¼ inches above the lowest cutting point of the blade in the lowest blade position. Openings shall be placed so that grass or debris will not discharge directly through any part of an operator seated in a normal operating position. There should be one of the following at all openings of the blade enclosure intended for the discharge of grass. A minimum unobstructed horizontal distance of 6 inches from the end of the discharge chute to the blade tip circle. A rigid bar fastened across the discharge opening, secured to prevent removal without the use of tools. The bottom of the bar shall be no higher than the bottom edge of the blade enclosure. OSHA shall be provided with stops to prevent jackknifing or locking of the steering mechanism. Vehicle stopping means shall be provided. Hey, that's good to have vehicle stopping means. Hand operated wheel drive disengaging controls shall move opposite to the direction of vehicle motion in order to disengage the drive. Foot operated wheel drive disengaging controls shall be depressed to disengage the drive. Dead man controls, both hand and foot operated, shall automatically interrupt power to a drive when the operator's actuating force is removed and may operate in a direction to disengage the drive. Like, I guess you're not there when you're hitting it on a small mower as opposed to like with a foot control. When you go leave off the foot control, it going to stop. Except they do have a mine has a cruise control on it. So I don't know how that gets around this. And that's the end of 1910.243. Wasn't that exciting? And so there you have subpart P and all four of the sections of it for hand and power tools. You can see a lot of that stuff in these firing type of tools, gun type tools, which makes a lot of sense. There's a lot of regulations on those. And so now you know they're there. So if you need them, you know where you can find them so that you can be safe.